Hi, on today's episode of Mad Facts with Pat, we're going to talk about fashion in the ancient world, or some parts of fashion in the ancient world. So here we go. Let's talk about eyebrows. So today it's very common for people to trim their eyebrows, to pluck them, but definitely the common trend is we like to have two of them. That wasn't the case in the ancient world. What if I were to tell you in ancient Greece, this was the hottest look? That's right, the monobrow was all the rage in ancient Greece and Ptolemaic Egypt. In fact, women who couldn't grow a monobrow went the extra step and had it filled in with pigments and skin paint in order to make it look uniform and one unibrow. Now, unibrows could vary in thickness ranging from thin to thick, but an overly bushy monobrow was a fashion faux pas. Now let's take a second to talk about hair and makeup in the ancient world. Generally, men could wear their hair long or shorter, but not too short, and women wore longer hair. Now, the only people that really wore really short cropped hair in Greek society were slaves, and that actually was used as a way to distinguish them from free people. The only time a free person would crop their hair or shave it very close is when they were in mourning, and it seemed to have been more common among women than it was men, although both sexes did it. Let's take a second to look at this painting from the region of Corinth, dated the 6th century BCE. What is depicted here is a religious procession preparing to make an offering to the three graces. Two women stand in the back with offerings, while three young boys are pictured in the middle. One plays the pipe, another a lyre, and the third leads a sacrificial animal, probably a lamb. In the front is a woman with shorter hair, possibly pulled close to her head or shorn because she's in grieving. The woman is preparing to make a preparatory sacrifice known as a libation. The women are either pale complected or have used makeup to gain that appearance. Now, culturally, skin tone actually mattered. For men, tan skin was a sign of masculinity, but for women, fair skin, pallid skin was actually considered to be more feminine. In fact, women who had tans were basically considered lower class because they were outside the house working, and a proper woman was inside the house where her skin would be protected. So what did this mean in Greek society? Well, basically women would use a wide variety of cosmetics and pigments on their face in order to make them look white. And this white pigment was used was lead carbonate, which the name lead should tell you everything you need to know. It was highly toxic. Women would occasionally be exposed to so much lead that they would actually die from lead poisoning. And by the 2nd and 3rd century BCE, various authors were noting that women who wore a lot of makeup and wore it very often actually had bizarre behavior, irrational behavior, and these women often were described as dying in fits or having some other type of neurological condition. Now, other pigments for coloration, such as rouge, were used by the ancient Greeks, but none of them appeared to have been as toxic as the lead carbonate used to make that initial foundation of white skin tone. But all in all, Greek cosmetics was a fairly dangerous affair. And by modern standards, it was risky to keep up with the latest fashions. And that's been another Mad Fact with Pat.